What if the greatest offensive mind of a generation wasn't just a player, but a puzzle piece that didn't quite fit? What if his genius was less about mastery, and more about a cheat code? For years, James Harden mesmerized, confounded, and utterly dominated the NBA landscape, orchestrating an offensive symphony that redefined what one player could achieve. He wasn't merely scoring points, he was mining them, extracting them from the very fabric of the game with a precision that felt less human and more like algorithmic perfection. His MVP season wasn't just a highlight reel, it was a manifesto, a stark declaration that the rules, the conventions, the very spirit of basketball, were subject to his relentless, calculated deconstruction. Opponents saw a superstar. We now question if we were truly seeing the full picture, or merely the dazzling veneer of a deeper, more unsettling truth. The fear he instilled wasn't just born of his talent, it sprang from the unsettling realization that he played by rules no one else understood, bending reality itself on the hardwood. His impact wasn't just influential, it was foundational, shattering the existing architecture of offensive strategy and laying bare the raw, exploitable weaknesses within the league's grand design. Picture this, a defender, locked in, ready to challenge. Then, the almost imperceptible shift, the lightning-fast dribble, and the sudden, jarring halt, step back. Before you could blink, Harden was airborne, the ball arcing towards the hoop, and you were left in a vacuum of space, a solitary statue in the kinetic chaos he created. This wasn't just a move, it was a spatial anomaly, a physics-defying act that granted him an unblockable window, a private realm of untouched airspace in the most contested area of the court. He wasn't just shooting threes, he was weaponizing geometry, turning angles and distances into his personal arsenal. Every defender knew it was coming, yet no one could stop it. It was the ultimate paradox, a predictable inevitability that paralyzed even the most elite guardians. His ability to draw fouls was another layer of this systemic exploitation. He didn't just anticipate contact, he manufactured it, a puppet master pulling the strings of defensive desperation and referee whistleblowing. He didn't play within the lines, he drew new ones, constantly pushing the boundaries of what was permissible, what was ethical, what was simply fair. This relentless probing of the rulebook wasn't accidental, it was deliberate, a calculated experiment in maximizing output by any means necessary, turning every possession into a high-stakes negotiation with the officials and the opposition's composure. His dominance wasn't just about scoring, it was about orchestrating, a master puppeteer pulling the strings of an entire offense. Harden's playmaking reached historic levels, transforming teammates into unwitting participants in his grand design, their roles perfectly slotted into his intricate system. The ball was an extension of his will, flowing from his hands with surgical precision, dissecting defenses with no-look passes and pinpoint lobs that often felt pre-programmed. He wasn't just finding open teammates, he was creating the opening, bending the defense to his will before unleashing the perfect assist, a testament to his unparalleled court vision and analytical prowess. This dual threat, the ability to score at will and facilitate with elite precision, made him an unguardable enigma, a two-headed hydra of offensive destruction. Teams were forced into impossible choices, double him and leave someone wide open, or guard him one-on-one and face the wrath of his step-back or foul-drawing brilliance. It was a no-win scenario, a trap designed by a mind operating several dimensions ahead of the competition. His game was a constant, suffocating pressure, relentlessly probing every defensive weakness, every misstep, every moment of hesitation, until the dam inevitably broke under the sheer force of his calculated assault. But beyond the highlight reels and the record books, a different narrative began to emerge, a subtle hum of disquiet about the nature of his genius. During his peak, James Harden was the only player in NBA history to average at least 35 points and 7 assists while shooting less than 45% from the field, indicating an unprecedented reliance on free throws and three-pointers to maintain elite efficiency despite mid-range struggles. This wasn't just an anomaly, it was a testament to his cold, hard efficiency, an almost machine-like optimization of scoring. He didn't care for aesthetics, he cared for points, for wins, for breaking down defenses brick by brick, free throw by free throw, three-pointer by three-pointer. It was a brutal, beautiful form of basketball, but undeniably brutal in its lack of mercy for tradition. Critics called it ugly, boring, a blight on the aesthetic purity of the game. But what they really meant was it was effective, disturbingly so, a stark deviation from the fluid, artistic ideal. His methods might have lacked grace, but they possessed a terrifying, undeniable logic, an almost scientific approach to dismantling opposition. He wasn't playing the game, he was running simulations within it, finding the optimal path to victory no matter the cost to conventional beauty. The true depth of his methodology extended beyond game day. James Harden's legendary step-back three wasn't just honed through repetition, it was meticulously engineered. He would spend countless hours in the gym, often late at night, not just shooting, but precisely measuring and mapping out the arc and trajectory of the move against phantom defenders. This wasn't muscle memory being built, it was a geometric equation being solved, a spatial anomaly being perfected. He meticulously counted steps, analyzed angles, and calculated the precise moment of separation, transforming a dynamic basketball skill into a cold, hard scientific formula for creating unguardable space. He was less an artist and more an architect, constructing his offensive dominance piece by calculated piece, each movement stripped of extraneous flourish, optimized solely for maximum impact. This obsessive precision wasn't about flair, it was about absolute control, about eliminating variables, about turning the unpredictable chaos of a basketball game into a predictable, exploitable system. He wasn't just practicing, he was calibrating, constantly refining his internal algorithms to ensure peak performance and unwavering consistency, turning himself into a weapon of surgical precision. This unrelenting, almost parasitic approach began to wear on the league itself. One defensive coordinator famously likened preparing for Harden to solving a math problem that changed its own variables mid-equation, highlighting the constantly adapting, maddening complexity of his attack. It wasn't just physically exhausting to guard him, it was mentally debilitating. Defenders felt trapped, their instincts weaponized against them, every twitch, every lean, every moment of aggression potentially leading to a whistle and free points for Harden. He was a master manipulator, not just of the ball, but of the psychology of his opponents, forcing them into a constant state of hypervigilance that inevitably led to errors. This psychological warfare was perhaps his most potent weapon, turning the game into a mental marathon where his opponents were always one step behind, always reacting, never truly dictating. The league watched, helpless, as Harden methodically dismantled defenses, pushing the boundaries of what was acceptable, what was sustainable. He was a force of nature, yes, but a force that felt unnatural, almost like a virus rapidly mutating, rendering every known antidote useless in its wake. The sheer audacity of his methods, the way he bent the rules to his will, created a palpable tension, a growing unease throughout the basketball world. Then came the inevitable. The NBA, a league founded on tradition and fair play, was forced to confront the monster it had inadvertently allowed to flourish. Rules began to change, subtle adjustments initially, then more overt reforms, all aimed at curbing the very tactics that defined Harden's dominance. The Harden rule for foul baiting, particularly on non-basketball moves, was an institutional admission, a public acknowledgement that one player's systemic exploitation of the rulebook had become too potent, too disruptive, too much of a threat to the integrity and perceived fairness of the game itself. It was the moment the league, the ultimate authority, had to wave the white flag, declaring that Harden had indeed found a glitch in the matrix, an exploit so powerful it required a software patch. This was the ultimate testament to his unsettling genius. He didn't just win games, he fundamentally altered the operating system of the sport. His legacy isn't just about scoring titles or an MVP trophy, it's about the seismic shift he forced upon the league, forever changing how players approach offense and how rules are interpreted. It was a moment of profound unease, a realization that the beautiful game had been compromised, its vulnerabilities laid bare by a singular, relentless force. And as the league grapples with the aftermath, we are left to ponder, what other hidden codes might be waiting to be cracked within the beautiful game?